So today's webinar will essentially be an overview of Dynamics 365 customer service as well as a quick demo so you can see the user interface itself. We're going to go through each of the main components that you need to understand about customer service, and then I'll show you what those actually look like in the solution. So just a little bit about Turnkey Technologies. Oh, and what we won't be covering today are portals and entitlements or SLAs. Those are a little bit more advanced parts of the solution and could have entire webinars on their own. So we'll probably take a look at those in the future. Just a little bit about Turnkey Technologies before we dive in. We are a Gold Microsoft Dynamics partner headquartered in St. Louis, Missouri. We've been around since 1994, and since then our exclusive focus has been on helping businesses maximize the results from their Microsoft business solutions. We represent the full stack of Microsoft products, so everything in Microsoft Dynamics 365, both ERP and CRM, as well as Dynamics GP, Dynamics AX, and Power BI services that complement those solutions as well. We are a comprehensive solution provider, so we provide everything from requirements planning to full service implementations, maintenance, training, and ongoing support. And we offer regular educational opportunities like this one to help the Dynamics community better utilize their solutions and maybe open new doors to some new ideas. Finally, this webinar is going to be recorded, and we'll send that out to everybody in a follow-up email after the fact along with the PowerPoint. And of course, if you have any questions today, feel free to submit those in your GoToWebinar chat panel, and I will do my best to answer those in a Q&A at the end. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. I just want to talk for a second on this slide about the customer expectations around customer service today, starting with the challenges that customers have with poor service experiences. These things include things like lack of channels or options to engage service reps. Customers expect a response from your brand, whether it's from an email, website form, phone call, or even social media post. And so your customer service agents need to be aware of all the channels that they might be getting contacted on. A lack of context for agents who have poor visibility into customer history. So customer service cases are a great opportunity to wow your customers, but they're also a great opportunity to lose them. And so it's important that you utilize the tools available to access their info and communication history with you immediately so that you can understand them in real time. And then there's poor agent productivity, where cases are either getting resolved late or even forgotten completely thanks to poor routing and business processes. So growing your business starts with taking care of your existing customers. When a customer makes a purchase from you, they're not just buying a product, they're placing a bet with your brand. And so they expect a return on that investment at every touch point from discovery to support. So keeping today's customers happy means modernizing your customer service and delivering these personalized experiences at scale. So what is Microsoft Dynamics 365 customer service? It's a single application within the Microsoft Dynamics 365 platform that offers the tools that service and support agents need to deliver consistent, personalized experiences by providing immediate access to their customer insights and case resolution guidance. So it does this by enabling agents with case auto creation and auto routing rules, guided processes, and knowledge articles. It enables real-time omni-channel communication with your customers. The omni-channel app allows customers to engage with your agents across chat, SMS text, email, phone, and web. And those are all fully integrated and tracked right in the case where they're working. It empowers customers with self-service and access to web-facing searchable knowledge articles. Microsoft offers a portal solution for customer service as well, but that's a whole nother webinar like I mentioned earlier, and we'll probably get into that in the future. And it empowers management and the organization itself with service analytics and insights so you have a better idea of what is going on with both your products as far as maybe faults they may have, as well as the customer experiences that are happening out there. At the end of the day, it helps agents to meet customer expectations by delivering the right information in the right place at the right time. What's great about Microsoft Dynamics 365 is customers can adopt just the individual app that they need, so you can just get customer service today. But if you are outgrowing something like QuickBooks, or maybe you want to move off your other CRM solution, you can easily add in the other components of Microsoft Dynamics 365 and plug directly into your customer service application with the data you've already built there. So just a quick look at the overall architecture of the Microsoft Dynamics 365 platform. As a platform, it offers you the ability, like I said, to just choose the purpose-built apps you need, or you can plug them all in together for a complete CRM to ERP solution. And so, as I said, the customer service app is it's totally an option as a standalone application, but and it can work alongside your other existing technologies as well. But it does integrate deeply with Microsoft ERP as well as Dynamics 365 for sales to provide a truly seamless experience. So all the components you see here on the screen right now work seamlessly together on Microsoft's common data model, and I'm sure many of you are already using things like Office 365 or some of the other components on the screen today. So just looking at some of the main components that you need to understand about the customer service solution before we dive into the demo. We're going to start with cases. A case is your standard customer support record used to manage and resolve whatever the incident is. So this is your base record when it comes to customer service. It's where you're going to capture all the details about the case, such as the title, the priority, the subject, the origin, and other case details. And this is where you're going to manage it all the way through to the resolution. And it's also what's going to come in and out of your queues as a customer service agent. Cases have a process bar that can be configured to suit your organization's best practices. You could see the top bar there on the screen is sort of the steps involved in resolving a case. Those steps can be configured based on what you consider necessary for your customer experiences. Also, cases can be routed to queues, users, or teams within the solution. So we're going to talk about queues in a second, but essentially it's a bucket where you can hold all your cases based on a specific category. And also a case is where you can directly search the knowledge base and apply that knowledge that you're looking at or that process that you're looking at right to the case where you're working on, so you can provide the quickest resolution possible. So as I just mentioned, queues are essentially a bucket to hold cases. You can have queues for various departments or specialist areas for your service teams for cases to be routed to. So for example, that could be broken down by products or departments or different service needs where specialists might reside. Queues can have their own email, and they can accept incoming emails into the queue. And then that can be used to then automatically create a case using a case creation rule whenever a queue receives an email. So we're going to talk about that more in a second too, but essentially you can have a queue set up to receive an email and then automatically create a case. Cases can then be routed to other queues via routing rules that are attached after the case has been created. And so we'll talk about that as well. So case creation rules, these can be added to a queue to automatically create a case based on some kind of activity. I would say the most common use case here would be email activities. So within the case creation rule, you can add rule items with various conditions to be met in order for the rule to take effect. So the creation rule itself defines how the system is going to handle automatic record creation, and then the rule items provide the details as to what it's creating and when, under what conditions. As I said, a perfect example of this would be inbound emails for support cases. An example might be anytime an email hits the specified queue and meets the specified criteria, case record can be automatically created. In the example I'm showing here, we don't have any conditions on the auto create rule item here on the right. And what that means is anytime an email hits this case, since there is no condition, it's going, or it hits this queue, since there's no condition, it's going to create a case. But you could add conditions here, such as, you know, email equals a customer in the organization, or they currently have an SLA associated with that email. You can either create a case or not create a case based on those criteria. So routing rules. Once a case record has been created, whether that's manually or whether that's from a case creation rule, we can then automatically route it to a queue or an individual user or a team using routing rules. You can add criteria just like with case creation rules that are if, then, or and, or criteria, and these determine if and how a case is routed. And we're going to take a little bit deeper look at that when we go into the demo here as well. So subjects are a really useful tool in the customer service solution. Essentially, a subject tree can easily be created and used to categorize your cases and knowledge articles in the subjects that you define. So this really helps with service management analytics and understanding the types of cases that come in the most, how quickly they get resolved, and it can also assist with routing rules as well. So you can see here my examples are, I've got a parent subject for support, and then you can have child subjects under those. So under support, I've got break fix, missing, wrong items, order change, place order, question, returns, shipping, and missing order. And then even under each of these child subjects, you can have more child subjects and branch it out as far as needed. And then those subjects can easily be added to cases as they come in to assist with routing and also to assist with knowledge article surfacing. So email templates can also be created in the solution to be auto-generated and auto-sent when things occur, such as a case is created by the system. You can automatically send out an email to the customer letting them know that, hey, we've seen that you submitted a case and we're working on it, as well as for different updates on the case, or perhaps when a case is resolved, you can auto-generate an email that way as well. So email templates are completely customizable. I do believe you can add images to here. You just have to have them hosted on a web-facing server and put the URL information in here. And then you can also use personalization tokens, as you see here, to include the case title, case number, and things like the customer's name directly in the email itself for that personalized service. So knowledge articles, these are an incredibly important part that I really encourage your organization to take advantage of. They're essentially your knowledge base of case resolutions, suggestions, frequently asked questions, and other related documentation for your service agents. They can be private for your internal organization, or they can be public-facing, or both. And so knowledge article templates can be created and used to democratize the article creation process. So as you see here, I've got a very basic format here, but you can create knowledge article templates that users can then insert into their knowledge article creation page and format it the way that your company has defined. Knowledge article searches can be embedded directly into various records. So for example, it can be embedded right into a case record or even customer records. So you can have a search bar and access to the knowledge base right where you're working. And then knowledge articles can be related to categories. They can be related to products as well as keywords and other data as well. So using keywords will be useful for your organization if you don't have things like products configured in your CRM, or if your organization doesn't use Dynamics 365 for sales, you can include keywords in your knowledge article, as you see here, that can associate that knowledge article to a product name. And then finally, we have self-service dashboards and reports. Dynamics 365 lets you easily create your own lists, charts, and dashboards on the fly. And so essentially what a dashboard is, it's a space in your Dynamics 365 solution that allows you to put list views, charts, or other visualizations from Power BI or perhaps iframes from the web. It's just a space to lay these things out for quick insights for your day-to-day workloads. These can be edited and saved right where you're working, so you can create a list right from the leads view that you may be working in or a customer view you're working in, and then you can create a chart right there as well, and then simply place it into a dashboard. So this essentially puts the power of analytics in the hands of your everyday users, as well as gives your managers key day-to-day insights into what's going on into the customer service side of the organization. And as I've mentioned, you can add Power BI tiles and other rich data sources to these dashboards as well. So it does not just have to be Dynamics 365 data that you're surfacing in your dashboards here. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the solution itself. When you go into the customer service solution, you're going to start in the dashboard section on the home page here. So as you can see, it starts on a tier 1 dashboard. It shows my active cases, my resolved cases, my draft emails, and my activities. But we've also got the customer service performance dashboard. So this is a great dashboard for managers or customer service team leaders who need to understand or need a bird's eye view of what's going on in the service side of the organization at any time. Here you can see active cases. You can see active cases by mix based on priority, active cases by the agent that they're assigned to, as well as cases by incident type. And so this is where these things like creating subject trees and utilizing the subject tree functionality really comes in handy for your analytics and allows you to dig in and see, okay, what are my customer service agents actually dealing with and how quickly are those types of cases getting resolved, or what cases are not getting resolved or perhaps are falling off. You get great insights like that from these dashboards. So I want to show you cases first. Now I've created a case here, but I'm going to go ahead and recreate one just so you can kind of see what it looks like. So this would be an example of, let's say somebody called into the organization and we're going to manually create this case. And this client is having problems with their Fabricam laptop keys is sticking. We're going to choose a subject that we've built from our subject tree prior to this. So I'm going to choose support, and this is going to be a break fix issue. Now this is Joe Schmo submitting the case, so the company here is going to be Schmo Inc. Maybe I didn't spell that right. There we go. The origin of this case is phone. They are talking about their Fabricam laptop keys. And so here you can see I actually have products configured in the solution itself, so I was able to just pull that product directly into here. We're not going to worry about entitlements right now, and here I could provide a description of the case. Okay, so we're going to save our case. And now that all this information is in here, I want to show you what's really cool about the knowledge article feature is because we've got a subject in here and we've got keywords associated with our knowledge articles as well as products associated with our knowledge articles. To see how to resolve this person's issue, all I have to do is go over here to my knowledge base search, click it, and it's going to use this data to surface the relevant knowledge articles that would help me in this case. So for example, here's a resolution for sticking keys, how to support laptops, resolution for broken screen, but this is the one we're looking for here. So we're just going to pick this, and right where I'm working, it gives me resolution guidance for the customer. Now, here you can see the guided processes up top. You've got some other details that you can see on the record itself, such as everything associated with it here, whether they have an SLA and other related activities or records with the document. So from here, we just follow our business process steps. We've identified the customer. We can move to the next stage. We've identified the owner, that's myself in this instance, Janice Smith. We can move to the next stage. And this is obviously a pretty simple process bar here, but once we have followed all these steps and helped the customer, we can click Finish. And then at this point, I can go ahead and resolve the case and auto-generate an email to the customer letting them know that this has been handled. And also you can see here on your timeline of the case record. This is where any activities that have ever occurred on this case record will be tracked. So if this had come in from an email, your emails would show up here, the originating email would show up here, or if it's a phone call, you can add your communications and descriptions about those as needed. So let's say I had to call Joe Schmo about this issue. I can include a subject, a description about the phone call, and add that in here to my activities as well. So everything that you do with this record with the customer is going to be tracked right here, right in the middle of the screen for you to see. So now I want to go ahead and show you what queues look like. If I had, let's see, I think I have a case associated with me in this queue. But let's say I'm a customer service agent. I want to go to my Fabricam laptop support queue, and we're going to look at all cases in this selected view. So here you can see I've got my Fabricam laptop key support case. But I also want to show you where you would go to create a queue. So if you were a customer service manager or perhaps an admin of the solution, you can't create a view from here. This is only where you can access them from, but you can go to your settings here, and only admins will have access to these features here, or at least higher permission roles will. And then you're just going to go to queues. And so here's where I can create a queue or edit queues or remove them. I'm going to go into my general queue here and show you one that we have set up. And now this is where I can also go to add a record creation rule. So here we're in the queue. We got the queue name, the queue description. This is where the first queue will go where all new cases go. Or this is the first queue where all new cases go. And then I've gone ahead and created a record creation and update rule on this queue. So this is essentially an inbound email case creation rule. So this rule is saying anytime an email comes into this general queue, we're going to convert that email into a case record. So let's take a look at this case creation rule. Here we're in the actual rule itself, and then within this rule, you've got rule items that specify the criteria and more details about what record's going to be created. But over here in this main section, you've got different settings that you can set, such as create records from emails from unknown senders, as well as you can create cases for activities associated with a resolved case after a certain timeline. So let's say a case was resolved, that client responds to that case email again. You could have this set so that if they respond within 1 day, it's just going to associate it to that resolved case. But if not, if it's a day later, then it will create a new case for that outreach. And then here's also where we specify the email response, the email template that's going to be auto-created or auto-sent when a case is automatically created using this case creation rule. Just taking a look at that really quick, here's the email template we would send out. So going into the rule item, specify the criteria that determine whether a rule is created or not. And I showed you this before, but this is a very simple one because this example is showing just the general queue, which says if an email hits this queue, create a case out of it. There is no condition needed here. That's going to work just without any condition here. But you can add things like email, different statistics or different stats around email parameters. Email subject contains blank or contains X. And then down here you have your action. So it's going to create a case record if these conditions are met. Okay. So now I'm going to show you the, I want to show you the routing rules that I've created really quick. So again, for routing rules, you're going to have to be an administrator or a higher level role in your organization to see this. But you're just going to go into your advanced settings area, click this settings drop down here, and you're going to choose service management. And then you'll see your routing rule sets right here. Now I've gone ahead and created a rule set already just to show you. but I've created a rule set for 2 of our queues, one for the main customer support queue and one for the Fabricam laptop support queue. And so what these essentially do is these are applied to these queues, and anytime a case is created, that based on the case creation rule that we had, if it meets these criteria that we have specified here, it's going to be routed to these queues. So here you can see we've got our Fabricam laptop support queue. Let's take a look at this one really quick at what the rule items are to essentially route a case to this queue when it's created. So you can see here I've got the product equals Fabricam products. The description contains Fabricam, contains laptop, case title contains Fabricam, case title contains laptop. These are all grouped as OR, meaning any of these can be true, and it's going to route the case to this queue. Now we have a simpler one here, and this is for cases that don't have sufficient data to be routed. So essentially, if a case comes in that doesn't have any sort of product name or other marker that you need to route in the description or in the case title anywhere, then this is going to be routed automatically to the main customer support queue. So essentially, any case that we can't deem routable based on the data that it currently has will be routed to this customer support queue, at which point you need to have a customer service agent look at this queue and manually route it to the appropriate queue. And down here you can see I've specified which queue for that to go to. Okay, and then knowledge articles, we're going to look at those really quick. So to access knowledge articles and to create knowledge articles, you do not have to be an administrator in the solution. You can just be a regular user, but you can set up thresholds and rules that prevent users from just outright publishing articles. You can require certain roles to review and approve those, and you can also mark those for internal or external use, as I mentioned. So let's take a look at this knowledge article here for our sticky keys. Actually, we'll look at our broken screen knowledge article. Okay, so once the knowledge article is created, this is what you're going to see. You've got the body of it down here, and again, this can be based completely on a template that's defined by your manager or your administrator. You've got your knowledge article title here, as well as keywords that you can manually add in. And again, this keyword section is very helpful. For instance, if you don't have your products configured in your solution, or if you're not using Dynamics 365 for sales, so you don't have the product functionality, then you can just use keywords for those products here to associate those knowledge articles in the search function. As I said, you can relate the article to different documentation or different knowledge articles within the system. You can mark it for internal use or not mark it and have it be external facing for like a so we could say that product and add any other products that this is associated to. Now what that's going to do is when I create a case that has these products or subjects involved with them, this knowledge article is going to surface right there in that case. Or if I search for those things using the searchable search function, it's going to surface there as well. So here you can see the process bar. You've got different required fields before you can move on. So you have to have a subject, you have to have some keywords, an author, and a mark for review status. At that point, it'll be sent to whoever needs to approve it. They can mark it as approved. It'll move on to the next phase, at which you can click finish, and then finally publish the article itself and make it live. Now we're going to take a look at dashboards again. As I already showed you, we've got dashboards of different types as well as completely customizable dashboards. So you can just create your own dashboard from scratch here. where you choose your layout and then you just choose what content you're going to add to it. Here you can see your layout options here, but again, these are drag and drop, and so once you actually create this, you have the ability to move things around on here and save those components. Here you can see I can add a chart, add a list based on different record lists that I've created, iframes, Power BI tiles, web resources. There's a lot that you can add to dashboards. So that pretty much wraps up the demo. We're going to go back into our PowerPoint really quick. And I just want to leave you with some tips for some takeaways for today. I encourage your organization to lean heavily into all the features in customer service, not just the case creation or not just the case management features. So take advantage of the subject functionality, the knowledge article functionality, and make it a standard in your organization, because this can truly be your best friend when it comes to providing fast service. But even for having knowledge stored securely throughout your organization to use as needed, this is a great tool. Help customers help themselves first. So expose your public-facing knowledge articles on the web for a searchable frequently asked questions page or a self-service web page, because overall self-service really is a win-win scenario. Data shows that customers prefer not to speak with a customer service rep when they can help it, and the less time agents spend on the phone, the more productive they can be with things like knowledge articles and more useful advanced features in the customer service side. So like I said, I encourage you to utilize the subject, priority, origin, and product fields consistently on case records, not only to help resolve cases faster, but really to provide meaningful analytics to your managers so they can easily see what agents deal with in their day-to-day operations and optimize those processes to meet those needs.